Let's Talk Early Years, Season 3, Episode 1, the podcast where we elevate the voices in early years education. In studio with me today, Kelly Lundberg, talking personal branding, your values, your vision, and your voice. Welcome in studio, Kelly Lundberg.
Great to be here. This is so bright and vibrant, and you know how I feel about yellow.
You know how I feel about yellow.
Yellow is everything. It's just such a happy color. And I think when it comes to branding and first impressions, sure, what you look like is one thing, but also the collateral, the vibe. It's sunny and happy.
Thank you. Welcome to our sunny and happy podcast, Kelly.
Pleasure to be here.
Tell the educators and the parents out there, who is Kelly Lundberg?
Who is Kelly Lundberg? How long do we have for this podcast?
Serial entrepreneur, celebrity style. Give it to us. Tell us.
All of it. So I think maybe what I do now, I think probably I'll start with that, because then organically it can go into how did you get into that. So currently as it stands, I'm an international keynote speaker, and what I talk about is personal branding for all different types of industries, which I think is really interesting, because personal brand is something that everyone has, and they don't always realize it, but it's how do you communicate your personal brand in a way that doesn't come off as showing off, or comes off in a way that represents who you are. And that's through credibility, through visibility, and through showing up as you, which is one of the hardest things that people find, to be authentically themselves.
Yeah.
So I've got clients from CEOs of big organizations that need to lead by example. The leadership aspect of personal branding is huge. I work with people who are new and career pivoting, who want to be seen and known for someone else. And then I have people within organizations who are like, I want to climb the career ladder, but nobody knows who I am. I feel invisible. To, entrepreneurs and those that want to become keynote speakers themselves. So there is a space for branding in every industry, and it's just, whilst the principles may be the same, how that is for each person is slightly different.
I love that.
Yeah.
I think as educators, we certainly don't see ourselves as a brand.
Which is interesting, because you educate and lead with value. It's one of the easier industries, I would say, because the whole piece of personal branding is people always think, oh, but I'm showing off. But actually, if you lead with value and you lead with something educational, that's why if you're in education, you're in a space where actually people can learn from you. So it's really, really useful. So I would say the whole idea of people seeing themselves as a personal brand is quite challenging.
Kelly, you say in your book, DC the Lemon, your knowledge, great or small, can help someone. You, in fact, are doing a disservice by not sharing how you can help others. Think less about you, your fears, think more about how you can help others.
So true.
This resonates with us. As educators, to show up as ourselves, as our authentic selves, and to elevate our brands.
Yeah.
Tell us, what is a personal brand?
I think probably one of the easiest ways to describe it for everyone is ultimately, how do you make people feel when they come into contact with something you say or do? So for the first time, we've met a number of times, but around here, there's a first impression of the cameraman. He's made of me as I've walked in here. Your personal brand is that. He's made an opinion on me.
Right.
But for some people, they don't get to meet me in person.
Right.
They see me on LinkedIn, or they'll look at my Instagram stories, or they'll see me online. So when you're thinking about other people and yourself, what is a personal brand? How are you making people feel? Are you leaving them with a great feeling?
Yeah.
Are you making them feel inclusive? Are you making them feel great? Jeff Bezos says it's about what people say about you when you're not in the room.
Yeah.
And I think there's massive
Kelly's fabulous. I would say Kelly's fabulous.
There's massive similarities. But what you want is also that consistency, which is why I say it's about how you make people feel. Because people have one perception of you possibly online, but you ideally want that to be the same in person.
Yes, that authentic self.
Yeah.
I feel like you're saying this is that unspoken interview almost for educators, that perhaps I might not meet this person face to face, or this leader or this manager face to face, but her online presence and her branding speaks volumes of someone who I might want to recruit for a future date. Somebody who I might want to collaborate with, an expert, who can come on the podcast and share their professional knowledge. Am I right?
100%, 100%. So it's very much that impression, perception that others have of you.
Yeah.
And ultimately, are you happy with that?
Yes.
As well, because one of the things that we do with clients when we're working with them one-to-one is get them to do an anonymous audit. So we control it as a business. I don't know who the person is that replies. Only they know the 10 people they sent out to, but we don't know who the reply was. And it's really fascinating to kind of see the results that come back on, I didn't know that I was known within the organization as resourceful, or they see me as inspiring. So it really helps deliver confidence.
Yes.
And then they can
build
on
on
that. Yeah, absolutely. But also going, they actually see me like this. I don't see myself like that. So how do I improve that? And I think that's a great way to kind of work on what are your strengths?
Yeah.
What do you think your strengths are? But what do other people think
It's an
your strengths
opportunity
are?
for self-reflection as a professional.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's the only way we grow.
Absolutely, Kelly. I agree. So for educators, definitely we need to see the importance of building our brands, right? For
Massively. Leaders, because one, you want to lead by example.
Yeah.
Because I think if you've got a team, they need to see what it is. They need to be inspired by you. But more than just that, I think from building the brand is it's not just who you are online. It's potentially what parents are thinking about you. They'll be doing the research. The education, the nursery, the school can have all the branding it likes, but ultimately, I would imagine as a parent, you'd want to know who's actually teaching your children or who's sharing the knowledge. And that comes down to their brand, not just the schools.
You're speaking of a brand within a brand?
Yeah.
So now I want to say, many of us would be afraid of stepping on toes in that space, right? So for many of us, we are not necessarily the business owner. So we need to separate the business branding, like you're saying, and my personal branding, me as an educator, me as a leader.
Yeah.
How do I navigate that space of saying, I'm here, I'm Melanie Karim, and this is my voice, this is my vision, these are my values, and this is who I am. How do I do that? How do I navigate that space,
Understanding that you're the ambassador. You are the ambassador for the brand that you work for.
Right.
You're that front-facing, who people are going to see. You can have the whole singing, all dancing, TV commercials and print ads and everything to make people come to what it is that you're offering. But ultimately, you're the one that they're going to connect with.
Yes.
You're that front-facing. So seeing that you're an ambassador and the value that you actually have to give is one of the first places that I would really reconsider in that space. How I like to look at it is, the business brand is very much kind of like the invoicing part of a business. That's maybe who pays your salary. That's who does all my invoicing in my business. If you're an entrepreneur, you're paid a salary because of the business brand. But ultimately, the marketing piece is me within a business and within education. It's you as the ambassador. Why are people coming? Oh, no, that teacher, I know that they've got a great knowledge for this or that background. That's the piece. That's the marketing, the connection, the how do you make people feel?
Right.
That's what people are buying into, that
So
trust.
what would it look like for the brand and the individual to complement each other powerfully, Kelly? What would that look like?
I think there's got to be some similarities in values.
Yeah.
You can work for an organization if you're completely unaligned in I value sustainability, and then the brand that you're working for it does not value sustainability. They would clash. So I think there's got to be finding, okay, what are their values, and then how do they complement mine? And then through that you can go, okay, that's how I lead by example, through showcasing what my values are, or how I educate, or how I differentiate myself. But the pieces in how you do that is your voice. Your voice is always going to be your voice. It has to be. You can't have clones of everyone else under the brand. There's got to be that uniqueness about you, and that's why the organization hired you, to get you to lead the team, to inspire the children through that as well. So definitely the value piece is huge. But where else do these aspects come across? I think your voice comes across in the emails, potentially, if you're communicating with parents. How do you communicate that? I'm assuming, I don't know, maybe there's WhatsApp communication, or all of that.
Or apps, yeah.
Apps, yeah. All of that's brand.
Yes.
You know, how are you communicating with them on those touch points? If someone's doing a bit of research, how are you communicating with them on LinkedIn, for example? You know, LinkedIn is the number one tool for personal brand building. It's SEO optimized, so the chances are, if a parent's done some research about who's my teacher and they type in the teacher's name, the chances are that if it's not the school or the education institution that's going to come up first, second is going to be LinkedIn.
Your personal profile.
As advertising,
yes,
on who you are as the ambassador or one of the ambassadors and employees within the organizations.
Yeah.
So I'd say there's so many touch points before they even meet you in person. And then how do you communicate? How do you come across? And what are the things that you do that's different from everyone else?
I hear you saying authenticity.
Always.
Yeah.
Always. And in a little way, it's become quite an overused word.
Yes.
But it's actually overused because I think people don't understand what authenticity means. It's thrown around. I'm authentic. Well, are you authentic, really? And I think it's understanding, what does authentic actually mean? And I've been listening to a number of different educators. I'm always learning myself, other people within the industry. And I heard this quote recently by Chris Do, and he was talking about personal brand and authenticity. If you were to think about, when is the meest me that I am? So when are you really you? And versus, what is the you that goes out there? Because the chances are they're going to be different. Right? There's people on a Saturday...
Is that a bad thing?
Not at all, but I think there's people on a Saturday night that probably wouldn't go to school in the same things that they would. So that's where there's going to be a little bit of a disconnect in going, okay, when is the meest me versus what is the me that I put out there online, and where is the me in the middle?
Right.
Because we want the meest me. We want this... how do I show up? If you come round to my house, how different am I? I'm pretty much how I am. There is no difference. Maybe I'm more casual in clothing, maybe I'm not. Depends what day of the week it is. Versus when you maybe see me on stage. I'm the meest me, but I have to walk the talk because I'm in personal branding.
Right.
In some industries, okay, maybe how you are on a Saturday night going out with your girlfriends might be quite different to what you wear, for example, as part of your personal brand.
Right.
At school on a Monday morning.
Right.
But where's the middle?
I hear you. I hear you saying that I need to consider who I am as an educator, showing up professionally each day, and then also ask myself, if I were to meet a parent or a team leader or a colleague out there in a social space, would I be the same person? Or would they be completely shocked or disgusted or, seeing me out there showing up as somebody completely different? Yeah. So again, this for me, I think, is a place of self-reflection. Yeah. To understand me, like you're saying, who am I? Who is Melanie? How am I showing up in the world? And how do I want to show up in the world? And how do I want to be perceived as I show up in the world?
People are scared to do that. And they'll spend a lot more time thinking about other people versus going, how do I? Spend some time on you. Like, people don't like spending a lot of time on themselves or doing work on themselves or reflection, but that's where a huge part of growth comes from.
Yeah. And I think the fundamental of building your personal brand and then elevating your career, because that's really why we're here. That's what this podcast is about. We want to elevate our educators. We want them to know that you're an individual, Be the youest you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I want to read something, Kelly, that you're saying. I want to speak about showing off. Right. So, building a personal brand is not just about promoting oneself, but also about sharing valuable insights and experiences, connecting with others, and creating meaningful relationships in the professional world. I think that sometimes we look at personal branding as, look at me, here I am. Help me to navigate that space. Speak to what you've said in your book here.
I think it's because people don't know what to share. So they go, okay, well, I don't have anything interesting to say about me. So the only interesting thing I can say is, I won this award, or I did this, versus going, what can I share that's of value to other people? Because personal branding is about how you impact other people.
Right. So as educators, we're already sharing valuable information, as you said earlier.
Yeah.
We're already being a valuable contributor to society. So the confidence to know that I know what I know, and that it's valuable is perhaps the key here.
Absolutely. And then how do you translate that into written form content in the way of a blog? Or how do you put that into a collaboration with someone else? You know, one of the ways that you're building is you found something that you love doing, podcasting.
Talking.
Well, yes, podcasting, talking, but ultimately sharing knowledge. That this is not about you, but it is about you because it's down to your connections. It's down to the effort that you're putting in. But actually, it's not. It's the guest. It's their story, how they're inspiring other people, what lessons they can leave with. So whether that's podcasting, talking, whether that's going on panels, whether that's doing a blog, sharing something on LinkedIn, but it's doing it strategically. And I think that's where people go, okay, hang on a minute. Well, I just won this award, so I'm going to post it. And then for the next 2 months, all I'm going to do is repost other things with what's happening. No, it's lazy. It's not adding value. And that's where strategically thinking about your personal brand versus just letting it happen to you. Because everyone has one.
Right.
Where's the difference and who's succeeding?
Right.
Those who are strategically putting in steps to, I've been building this podcast for the next 12 months, or I've been working on my LinkedIn presence, or I've been working on an initiative within the school that I'm not paid for extra, but I really want to do it because it adds visibility to who I am, but it also helps me because I love doing it.
You know, I often speak with mentees and I say to them that when you do exactly what you're speaking about, Kelly, when you go that extra mile in whether it be personal, professional development or creating an extracurricular activity in the nursery school, it's about creating your personal craft.
Yeah.
You're elevating your career and in so doing, elevating your personal brand.
Absolutely. But often if we can think about it, okay, it is about me because I want to have a strategy, but how does that impact other people? Lean into other people.
Yes.
That's going to take a little bit of the pressure of going, it's all about me.
Yeah.
It's actually about the value you're bringing and how you can help other people.
I love
which is
that.
ultimately what your educators are doing anyway.
Yes.
So they're already a step ahead.
Yeah. I want that to sink in with our educators, that they should know the value that they're already bringing to everyone around them, you know, and to, from that space, grow from that space, Kelly. So what are some of the key questions that we should be asking ourselves as educators building our professional brand?
So I think the first one is, what do I want to be known for? And I would also add with that, what do I want to be known for now? Yes, but also what do you want to be known for in the next 12, 24 months, within the next 5 years? Because often the personal brand that we have now is what people know. And we want to educate people as to what do we want to be known for. So maybe we want to be known for this particular skill thing that you're doing, but maybe not enough people know about it. So we need to be thinking about, okay, personal brand for now, but also a little bit like a pair of shoes when you're little, I don't know if your parents ever did this, but my mum would take me to a shoe shop when we were 5, 6 going to school. And at the start of the school year, we would always have the school shoes that were too big. Because
they needed to last the duration of the school year.
And you needed to grow into them. And you always felt like you were wearing like wellies, the first few months. But and it's uncomfortable, and you're like, but they're too big for me, and just wear an extra pair of socks and all of that. In Scotland we would. But I often feel that that's a little bit like personal branding, is that you've got to grow into also this brand of what you want to create in the future. So yes, what do I want to be known for now? But what does that future look like? So if I look at personal branding, in the beginning it was only to be known as a personal brand strategist, people that can help people within personal branding. But actually, over the last few years, it's keynote speaking, it's storytelling within personal branding. That there's other aspects of public speaking. I see that being a huge skill. So you can develop on and keep evolving, but we've got to start with what do I want to be known for and going forward on that. So I think that's a great question. Then I would get really clear as to the personal brand values. What are my values? Knowing that they can evolve over time. But what are they now? Because that will make you make decisions based on that. So one of my values is...
Make decisions based on your authentic self.
Yes, exactly. So if I think one of my key values is inspiration, inspire. Like it's what I do. It's why I come on these podcasts, because I want to inspire my clients. But beyond that, it's also inspire someone who's listening. It can just be one person. And that's when people get caught up too much in metrics. Well, only 50 people listened or watched my YouTube video. But you could impact all 50 of those people, and one of those is gone on and done something.
Yes.
And that's the piece in that. So the personal brand values really will help you lead and will help you make decisions that are aligned to who you authentically are. So I think that second aspect of personal brand values. And then from there, you can then understand, okay, how do I want to come across online? How do I want to come across in person? How am I coming across? Do I like it? What do I need to change? Maybe I come across a little bit too shy. Okay, maybe I need to work on some skill growing. Maybe I need to work on public speaking. Maybe I need to get some help with something else so that you can, again, develop your own personal development so that you can come across and inspire others.
And read. You write so much about go read.
But I was such a late developer. Oh my God, I remember calling my granny. She encouraged me so much to read. And I didn't read a proper book until I was 18. I was living in Cyprus, and I remember I called my granny at the time from a pay phone box, a call box.
Back in the day.
I know, we were talking like 1999 that was. And I was like, Granny, I said, I've just finished my first book. And she was, Kelly, that's wonderful news. And I said, I lost the whole day. I read it on the beach. I got so transported with the characters, and it was wonderful. And she was like, welcome to the world.
Yeah.
And it so is. And to be fair, my first book was, I don't know, it was probably like a romance book or something.
And that's okay too.
But it got me into that world. And then I think my very first kind of personal development book that ever changed me, the way that I show up and has gone on to change everything, is The Magic of Thinking Big. And I talk about that in the book, actually. But that book changed me as a person and changed the way that I look at life and what you can achieve. And here we are today.
I was going to say at the start when I asked you what are some of the questions we would ask ourselves as educators elevating our personal brands, this is based on the premise of somebody wanting.
Ooh, huge.
Yeah.
Because that is a huge piece. Because I've been called into organizations. I have been asked to work with entrepreneurs of companies because the partner says they want this person to be more visible. Only works if you want to do it.
Yeah.
And it's tough, but you have to want to do this.
Yeah.
Or else you won't get the results.
Yeah, but in your book also, Kelly, you speak about the perception out there that personal branding is for the well-spoken, it's for the extroverted. Not every educator wants to be extroverted or is extroverted or wants to be this public figure. Speak to that person.
I think there's different ways we can communicate our knowledge, and that's ultimately your personal brand. Back to back to your values, back to sharing knowledge, inspiring others. And I think that there's different ways and strengths that people have. So you enjoy talking. I enjoy talking. I enjoy the stage. I enjoy probably the least amount writing blogs. I'm not a writer, but even though I've written a book, it's not what I love. Go and speak
It's not
about
your
that.
youest you.
Yes, exactly. And I think that's where you've got to lean into. So for some people, maybe as an introvert, if you want to label as that, they might be really comfortable writing and building a community through short blogs, newsletters, or something, Substack, or something else that's going to be more them. So I think that's leaning into what do you feel comfortable in doing. Some people it's none of that. Do you know what? For other people it's, do you know what? I want to give up my time at the weekend and I want to give back to others. That's part of my brand. Maybe that's it. It's not always got to be related back to what they work. It's just about, this is what makes me feel good, and I know that it helps other people. I've got one of my clients who contributes to a dog charity. And twice a month she'll go to a dog charity. She'll like adoption days and help them get homes, and because that makes her feel good.
Yeah.
And it's nothing to do with her line of work.
Yes.
So I think it's about finding a space of what makes you feel good and what do you enjoy.
Yeah.
And that visibility piece will then come through either when you're being you, the visibility happens.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So it's not necessarily being out there on a podcast, on Instagram, finding 100 million followers, being an influencer. That is not what branding is.
No. And I think, someone came to me recently and said, I want to be famous.
Oh.
Yeah, and I was like, well, personal branding, it's not, I'm not your answer. Yes, it's part of it. But if your number one goal is to be famous, you're leaning into something in a very different way, where I feel that if you're leading with value, if you're leading with content, you're leading with storytelling, if you're leading with impacting others, the famous piece will happen.
Yeah, I like that was your response, because you're speaking to your personal values.
Yeah.
Aligning with your brand.
Absolutely.
Yes, and speaking that truth and saying, I don't necessarily believe in that, but this is what I believe in.
Yeah.
Is building you
Yeah.
and building your authenticity and helping you to show up as your best self.
Yeah.
I like that.
Because that stays with you. Because that's the thing. I think, being famous can be fleeting.
Yes.
You can be,
and
famous.
shallow.
Yeah. Versus leading with something that you're known for a period of time. So for 15 years, I was known as a celebrity stylist. And that skill set's still with me, and I still use it within the branding piece, because how you present yourself, what you wear, how you come across, first impressions is still part of it. It's not the core part.
Yes.
So I bring that knowledge with me into the next iteration and reinvention, if you want to call it that, into what it is that you do. Whereas if you're leading with just the what are you known for, famous for one thing, that can be hard. And I think also a lot of us travel. So whilst the UAE might not be our home forever, or South Africa or Scotland or wherever, your brand is with you wherever you go.
Yeah. So how can we show up more intentionally as educators, whether it be on social media, whether it be at a staff meeting? How do we show up better, elevated, Kelly?
I think you hit the nail on the head by saying you've got to want to do it.
Yeah.
So I think that's the kind of first place of those that are listening to this going, do I actually want to do this?
Right.
Is it going to better my career? Is it going to make me happier at work?
Yes.
Yes, the answer is yes. But
Yes.
it's easy for me to say that, and it's easy for you to say that because you're doing the work.
Right.
And I've been there, whereas someone who's maybe starting from scratch hasn't done that.
Yes.
So
and you know what? I want to stop you there and say, I want this for other people, and sometimes I want it more than they do.
Welcome to my world.
Yeah, they don't necessarily want to be that elevated person, and that's okay, but I think what's key is for them to understand what you've said at the beginning. What is a personal brand?
I think a lot of it is confidence.
Yes.
I hear a lot, I don't have anything to say. Or why would someone want to listen to me?
Yes.
And I would say what is obvious to you is amazing to others.
Yeah.
And you only need to be one chapter ahead in order to inspire someone and help someone make a leap or a decision or guidance into what it is that they do next.
Yeah.
So I would say that I've lost track of where the question was now, actually.
I was just saying, how can we show up more
Oh, yeah,
intentionally?
so that was it. Knowing that you want to do that,
Yeah.
and then putting a plan in place. Don't expect that the personal brand, visibility, and credibility is all going to happen to you. What are the things that you can do to make yourself more credible or more visible or more value? And I think that's the thing that, you know, we keep touching back on this, and also think it's the industry you're in, the growth, the investment that you're doing in you. I really like the concept of skill stacking. I love this because stacking skills upon your existing skills, but that's what makes you you and you unique. And don't just think just because I'm an educator and I'm in this space that's going to be enough forever.
Yeah.
It might be that you need to be an educator and build on in AI and security online. It might be that you need to skill stack on speaking skills. It might be writing skills. And then you've got this this skill stack element is, you know, making you more and more valuable. And
Kelly, I love that. You've just given us a coaching session even as educators on how to pivot your role as an educator, how to grow your career out of being in the classroom into your next space. And I believe some of us are considering those things. You know, I don't want to necessarily be in the classroom forever.
Yeah.
What's the next step? I'd like to perhaps be a manager. I'd like to perhaps be a podcaster or a writer. So that is valuable.
Yeah.
Thank you.
welcome,
Kelly.
skill stack.
Last words.
Oh, wow. Last words. I'm like, are we there already? Last words for those that are listening. I think it would really just be diving into the things that we spoke about, knowing that you are a personal brand already.
Yes.
And if you really want to impact others in the world, you've got to make a decision to have a clear strategy on that point. Exactly what you've done, you know, it's going to be hard in the beginning. Robin Sharma has a great quote where it says, you know, change is hard in the beginning, it's messy in the middle, and it's beautiful at the end. And it's true, whenever you're doing anything like that, whether it's personal branding, learning new skills, putting yourself out to the public, which is how people see it, is scary. But once you've done it once, once you've done it twice, it gets easier. And I feel that someone sitting from a place of seeing clients go through that journey, it's easy for me to say do it because I've seen the results. I know it. I know my clients get addicted to LinkedIn, to the connections, to the visibility piece. But I think it ultimately comes down to you and knowing that visibility and the credibility, the growth in your career, it's your responsibility.
Yes.
You know, sure, your leaders can help you with elements of that, but you've got to be the one that drives that.
Yeah.
And that's what's going to be the point of change.
Profound. Thank you.
You're so welcome.
It has been just such a lovely, easy conversation, Kelly. I love that.
No one has sat with my book and quoted things out of it, so it was a very proud moment. Very proud.
Listen, I've got my autographed
I love
book
it.
here. And I mean, it's worse for the wear because it goes everywhere. I have personally taken immense value from your book, Kelly, and your mentorship, and you're just a phone call away. I'm always texting for if you know, you know, I'm always texting and saying, so what do you think about this?
Yeah.
So Kelly, how can our audience find you?
Well, I think what would maybe be very nice is you've talked about it so kindly. Why don't we give away a copy of the book to someone who's listening?
Awesome.
Yeah, so how they can maybe win it, and again, I'm thinking off the top of my head here, is if they screenshot this episode when it comes out, whether they watch it, they listen to it, and tag you in, and tag me in, which is Kelly Lundberg .official on Instagram. They tag you in, which is...
Let's Talk Early Years.
They screenshot that they've watched it, and then we'll pick a winner and we'll send a copy of the book.
And they'll be on their way. You'll be on your way to de-seeding the lemon. Kelly Lundberg, it's been a phenomenal pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you.